Once upon a time, in a big and lively city called Port Harcourt, where the streets were always busy and the sound of cars filled the air, there was a man named Frank. Frank was not an ordinary man. He was tall, dark-skinned, with sharp eyes that looked like they could see through people. His face was always calm, and he hardly spoke too much. He lived alone in a small, two-room apartment in Rumuola, a place where houses stood close to each other and neighbors always knew each other's business. Frank was a CCTV engineer. His job was to install and repair security cameras for people. In a city like Port Harcourt, where anything could happen at any time, people needed to watch over their shops, homes, offices, and hotels. Frank was very good at this job. He knew how to hide cameras in corners, behind clocks, inside fans, and even under tables without anyone noticing. His customers always called him for new jobs because he worked fast and neatly. Every morning, Frank would clean his small toolbox, check his laptop, and wait for his phone to ring. Most times, his phone never stayed quiet for a long time. "Hello, Frank. My hotel's CCTV is not working." "Good afternoon, Frank. Can you come and install cameras in my office?" "Frank, please, I need you to fix my church's security cameras before Sunday." Frank would smile, pack his tools, and set out for work. He loved his job. But what people didn't know was that Frank was a man with a dark, terrible secret. Meanwhile, in the same part of the city, there was a woman called Auntie Kyoma. Auntie Kyoma was a beautiful and hard-working woman. She was tall, dark, with bright eyes and a strong voice. She owned the biggest human hair wig shop in Port Harcourt. Women from different parts of the state came to buy wigs from her. From long Brazilian hair to bone-straight Peruvian hair, from curly to deep wave, her shop had everything. Her shop was very big, with glass windows and a shining black signboard written in gold letters, "Kyoma's Exclusive Wigs and Beauty Shop." Inside the shop, the air smelled of expensive hair oils and perfumes. Wigs of different colors and lengths hung on mannequin heads like silent, beautiful ladies waiting for attention. Auntie Kyoma had about 10 young girls working for her. Some arranged wigs on shelves, some stood behind the counter, while others attended to customers. The shop was always full of life. Music played softly from the radio, and customers gossiped and laughed as they tried on different hair. But there was a problem. Every end of the month, when Auntie Kyoma sat in her office to count her sales and check her stock, she would discover that some of her most expensive wigs were missing. It was a painful and confusing problem. One evening, Auntie Kyoma called all her workers together. She stood in front of them, her face strong and serious. "Everybody, stand here and listen to me," she began. "I don't like what is happening in this shop. Every month, wigs are missing. Wigs worth hundreds of thousands. I am not a fool. I know someone among you is stealing from me." The shop became very quiet. The workers looked at one another, fear in their eyes. Some shifted from one foot to another. Others looked down at the floor. "I swear, Auntie, it's not me," Amarachi said quickly. "Auntie Kyoma, God forbid bad thing, I can never steal," Blessing added. Loveth raised her hand. "Me too, Ma. I am a child of God." But Kyoma wasn't convinced. She sighed, rubbing her forehead. "If I catch the person, the ground will not contain you and me." That evening, Kyoma's best friend, Linda, came to visit her. Linda was tall and light-skinned, with sharp cheekbones and long eyelashes. She loved to wear colorful clothes and high-heeled shoes that made noise as she walked. Linda was a known gossip in the city. She always had the latest news about everybody. Kyoma poured wine into 2 glasses and gave one to Linda. "My sister, this stealing is driving me mad," Kyoma said, taking a sip. Linda leaned forward, her eyes wide. Still happening? But I thought you already threatened them last month." "I did. Yet last week, a customer asked for that new 30-inch bone-straight wig, and when I checked, it was gone." Linda hissed and clapped her hands. "What kind of wickedness is this? After all your goodness to them? Giving them food, clothes, and even bonuses." Kyoma nodded sadly. "I don't know what else to do." Linda's face brightened with an idea. She smiled and whispered, "I know what you can do. Call Frank." "Frank? Who is that?" "He's a CCTV installer. The best in Port Harcourt. He installed cameras in my house and my husband's office. You won't even know there's a camera there." Kyoma sat up straight. "Serious? Are you sure he can handle it?" "Leave that to me. Frank is very smart. He can hide cameras inside a flower pot and you won't see it." Kyoma thought for a moment, then nodded. "Call him for me." "Consider it done," Linda said, bringing out her phone. She dialed Frank's number, and after 2 rings, he picked. "Hello, Linda." Frank's calm voice came through the phone. "Frank, my dear, how are you? Are you busy?" "Not too busy. What's the matter?" "I have a job for you. A big one. My best friend needs CCTV in her boutique. She is complaining of missing wigs every time in her shop." "All right, where and when?" Linda smiled. "Tomorrow afternoon. I'll send you the address." "Okay, see you then." Linda ended the call and looked at Kyoma. "Job done." Kyoma smiled weakly. "God will bless you, my sister." The 2 friends laughed, sipped their wine, and continued gossiping about a woman in their street who left her husband to marry a much older man. The night fell, and in his small room, Frank packed his tools neatly. He smiled to himself. "Another money for my pocket," he thought, without knowing that this job would be the one that would destroy his life. He placed his laptop on the table, logged into one of his clients' CCTV, and watched a family eating dinner. He shook his head and laughed quietly. "People think they have privacy," he whispered. In his mind, he believed he was too smart to be caught. But the eyes of justice were watching. But before I continue with the story, I want to thank all my wonderful subscribers and viewers for your love and support. If this is your first time here, or you've been watching without subscribing, please hit that subscribe button and join the family. We would love to have you. Thank you once again. Now, let's continue with the story. The next afternoon, the sun was high in the sky. The weather was hot. When Frank arrived at Kyoma's exclusive wigs and beauty shop in his small, old, red Toyota Corolla, the car coughed loudly before stopping in front of the shop. Inside the car, Frank wore his usual calm face, but inside his heart, he was smiling wickedly. He knew this job was another easy way to plant cameras and later use them for his evil business. He opened his car boot and brought out his black toolbox. He wiped the sweat on his forehead with a handkerchief and walked into the shop. As he entered, the cool breeze from the air conditioner hit his face. The shop was full of customers, some sitting on chairs, some standing in front of mirrors, trying on wigs. The workers greeted him one by one. "Good afternoon, sir." "Good afternoon." Auntie Kyoma was sitting in her small office, talking to a supplier on the phone when Linda rushed in. "Frank is here," Linda whispered with excitement. Kyoma dropped her phone. "Call him in." Frank entered the office, smiling respectfully. "Good afternoon, Ma." "Frank, Welcome, Kyoma replied. Please sit. Frank sat down, placed his toolbox beside his chair, and waited for instructions. Linda spoke first. Frank, we want you to install secret cameras. Cameras that none of these girls will see. I need to catch the thief stealing wigs from here. Frank nodded. Very simple, Ma. I'll put one in the store, one in the staff room, one by the entrance, and another behind the counter. If you want, I can also hide one in your office. Kyoma smiled. Good idea. Frank rubbed his hands. I'll finish in 1 hour. Do it well. I want to see everything happening in this shop. Frank went to work. He moved from one corner to another, pretending to fix something while secretly planting cameras inside flower vases, inside wall clocks, and even behind a picture frame. The workers watched him move around but had no idea what he was doing. Amarachi, one of the salesgirls, joked. Ogre, are you sure you're not planting juju in this shop? Everyone laughed. Frank smiled. No, my sister. I'm only planting eyes. They all laughed again, not knowing how serious his words were. After about 2 hours, Frank finished. He called Kyoma and Linda to show them how the cameras worked on her laptop. Look here, he said, pointing to the screen. This is the store. This is the counter. This is your office. You can see everything clearly. Kyoma was impressed. Good job. How much is your money? 200,000 naira. Kyoma paid him immediately. Thank you, Frank. God bless you. Frank smiled, packed his tools, and left. As he drove away, he looked at his own laptop beside him and laughed. Another fish entered my net. But what Frank didn't know was that this job would be his downfall. Days passed. Kyoma and Linda secretly monitored the cameras from Kyoma's office. They watched as workers moved up and down, attended to customers, and cleaned the shop. Then one evening, something happened. The camera in the store showed Amarachi and Blessing sneaking into the stockroom when no one was watching. They opened a carton and quickly hid 3 expensive wigs inside their handbags. Kyoma's eyes widened. Jesus! Linda clapped her hands. I told you. Look at them. Kyoma picked up her phone and called the police immediately. That night, 4 workers were caught. Apart from Amarachi and Blessing, 2 other girls, Loveth and Peace, confessed they had been stealing wigs for months and selling them to traders at a nearby market. Kyoma fired them on the spot. Out of my shop. You are all evil. The police took them away, and news spread like wildfire. But the story was not over. A few days later, Kyoma noticed something strange. Each time she checked the CCTV app on her laptop, someone else was already logged in. She didn't understand it at first. Linda, come and see something, Kyoma said one morning. Linda looked at the screen. Who is this? Is it one of your workers? No. Nobody knows the password but us. Then Kyoma remembered Frank. A terrible feeling gripped her heart. Could it be Frank? Linda gasped. God forbid. But how do we confirm? Kyoma called a computer engineer, Mr. Tony, to trace the IP address. After hours of work, Mr. Tony shook his head. Madam, the person logging in is using Frank's home internet. Kyoma's heart nearly stopped. Linda, you see it. Linda placed both hands on her head. Blood of Jesus. And to think I brought this man to you. Kyoma didn't waste time. She called the police. That evening, the police stormed Frank's house. They broke the door and entered. Frank was inside, drinking a bottle of cold malt and laughing at a movie. Freeze! Police! Frank stood up, shocked. Officer, what have I done? They searched his room and found his laptop. What they saw made everybody's mouth hang open. There were folders named after people. Inside were videos of people in their private moments, families eating, couples bathing, people sleeping, even some married women dressing in their rooms. But most times Frank will satisfy his sexual urge by watching some of the women in their private moments. One folder was named Linda and Husband. Linda's eyes widened. Jesus Christ! She opened the folder and saw videos of her and her husband in their bedroom. Linda shouted in shock. Linda's husband, who had been paying a blackmailer for over a year, was there too. He screamed, "So it's you, Frank. You wicked fool." The police arrested Frank. At the station, Frank confessed, "I needed money. I just wanted to survive. I didn't mean to hurt anyone." But it was too late. The court sentenced Frank to 20 years in prison. As the judge gave the final judgment, Kyoma looked at him and shook her head. "Greed will destroy you, idiot." Frank was taken away in handcuffs. Back at the shop, Kyoma re-employed new workers, kind, respectful girls from a church. Linda apologized. "Kyoma, please forgive me. I didn't know he was a monster." Kyoma hugged her. "It's not your fault." Life slowly returned to normal. Little interesting question for you. If you were in Kyoma's shoes, would you have forgiven Linda for introducing such a dangerous person into your life? Why or why not? Moral lesson. Greed is a silent destroyer. The love of money can turn a man into a beast without a conscience. Trust is a fragile thing. Be careful who you let into your life, your business, and your home. Every evil act, no matter how hidden, will one day be exposed. The eyes of justice never sleep. The end.